The AI revolution is rapidly growing. They need Nvidia chips like you would not believe. And what do we got here? FOXCONN plans to build world's largest Nvidia GB200 chip factory there in Mexico. So let's just get right into it and check out some of these Nvidia charts, see the price prediction, see where the price is headed, and see if it's worth investing into today. Of course, none of this is financial advice. And please do subscribe and hit that like notification bell. And let's just get right into it. All right. So what do we have here? We got Foxconn plans to build world's largest Nvidia GB200 chip factory right there. So Foxconn, the world's largest electronics manufacturer, has announced that it's building the largest production facility for Nvidia's GB200 super chips in Mexico. Though through this construction, Foxconn can meet the rising demand from the Nvidia Blackwell platform, which is crucial for the AI industry. So this is huge news, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing. So let's just jump into the charts, shall we? All right, so we're just inside the Nvidia chart here, and on the 1 day, as you can see, that nice big bullish W is looking more and more bullish. So it hasn't broken bearish yet, and it is consolidating to the upside. It has broken technical support level and resistance level of $129, broken that to the upside and continuing to rise. So right now, after hours, it's $132.55 and continuing to sustain price at that support and resistance level. Okay, so it has been a support here, and it also has been resistance. Now it's going into resistance. Okay, so we got two resistance levels there, $133 and then $135, call it $136. And then, of course, $140.50 would be the all-time high. Needs to break above that. In the moving averages, I do see that it has broken bullish on the 1 day. Okay, so we just need that 30 to rise above the 100 and the 50 to rise above the 100 moving average. And that would get this into a bull run. And it would continue to surge, probably just like we've seen back in May. Okay, so it'll probably do the same thing like it did back in May, and then continue to break out and break a new all-time high, and then continue up in price discovery right around upwards to $150. All right, so on some downside levels, if the price rejects off $135, if it can't break above then, and of course, if it can't meet all-time high, which I do think it will be at all-time high by year end or closer to that, because it is moving with the S&P 500. In fact, this stock alone takes the majority of the S&P 500. So I do think, if you watch the last video I just made for the S&P 500, I do think it's going to crawl its way up the side with the S&P 500, okay, to $6,100. This is definitely going to break $140. Make new all-time high. There's a psychological number there, $150. Probably will shoot right up to there and have some resistance on the way. On some downside levels here, if, like I said, if it can't break $135 right here, then it will probably get rejected and continue to make its way down to this blue trend line that I have here, which it bounced off of twice. So that would be the trend line, and the trend line sits at the 200 moving average. So if it came down, it would come down somewhere around breaking past this 100 moving average, which would be bearish, and the 50 moving average, which would be bearish, and then causing the price to come down to the 200 moving average. And it has not yet tested the 200 moving average. So I do think in the near future, or sometime of the future for Nvidia, it still has to retest or test the 200 moving average, as it hasn't this entire bull run, since 2023, in fact. So it has not tested the 200 moving average. It got close here back in October 2023, and then it got close here with the growth scare that we had earlier this year in August. And it still hasn't crossed this this trend line, and it still hasn't broken to the 200 moving average. But what you can see now is that the 200 moving average is crossing the trend line. So this tells me, with the price going parabolic like it is now, we'll see an all-time high, may push higher, okay, alongside of that S&P 500, and then ultimately come into a bear run as the 200 crosses over, and it might just once again bounce right off the trend line, okay, right around $100, $105, retest that zone, even $120, okay. These are all big supports here for Nvidia. And the biggest support we have right now is $91 and $101. For it to get to $101 would have to cross, well, right now it's in play, but as Nvidia moves up the trend line, it would have to cross through this trend line to get to $101. So it's becoming less and less likely that Nvidia will see $100 a gain. Of course, the 200 moving average is right there. So I do think it will retest $100 again. Maybe not right now, maybe not anytime soon, but let's say when we have a bear market, that's when it'll come back to retest $100. Okay. But right now it's going parabolic. It's breaking higher on the Blackwell chips and on the news. And I do think it's going to continue to surge upwards. On the bear side, though, if it did cross the 200 moving average, would see $91. And then, of course, that 365 moving average, which is a magnet to the bear run. That's lower. That's a support right now at $72. Okay, so there is a support above that, like I said, $91. And it sits at $82 all the way to $96. That's the trend line there. And it would probably be caught in the box there. If Nvidia happened to go into bear run, it would be caught in that box there and then probably consolidate for a while at between $82 and $92 before having to break above that and then seeing another all-time high. All right, well, in the short term, I am very bullish on Nvidia. I do think it's going to continue to break up higher. This W formation is looking like a big squeeze, so it might just squeeze out here and break to an all-time high, $140, and then we might see a major surge. I make a trend from where it surged at $47 all the way to pretty much $95. I take that same surge line there because that was a squeeze. So if it did squeeze above there and it squeezed from the price below the 50 moving average, I had that right around here, but below the 50 moving average, we would be looking at a price of $164.89. So call it $165. I will mark that as a target. So there's the target, folks. $165, $164, that's my target. But currently it must break above $140. Once it breaks above $140, Nvidia will see new resistance lines. I do believe that 150 will be psychological number, and it will have some resistance there. And then, of course, every $5 will probably be resistance, and then 160, 155, and then, of course, 165. That could be the top for Nvidia. All right, so I hope this video has helped. Thank you very much for watching, and please hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any more of these videos.